I must say, I never thought we'd reach this day. Bubby seemed like one of those people that would live forever. Well, we're taught, Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha, that when month of Adar, this month, should entirely be in Simcha, in joy. And the question that I find myself asking is, why does Purim affect the entire month? We don't find that by any other holiday. We don't say Sivan, then we got the Torah as a month of happiness. How about Kislev, when Hanukkah should be a month of happiness? Not even Nisan is a month of happiness. We don't say Tachna, but it's only because we decided that each day has something special. But on Adar, just one day makes the entire month happy, full of joy. What's so special about this one day? I would like to answer the question using a midrash about Haman. Haman Rasha, when he was trying to figure out what day to make his evil decree, is he cast lots. And the midrash says that when the lot landed on Adar, he was very, very happy. And why was he happy? Because that was the month in which Moshe passed away. But the Midrash says, but he didn't realize is Oto Yom, the same day that he died, was the same day he was born. And you ask, wait a second. I mean, our yard site, we celebrate on one day, not the entire month. Why just because he passed away on that day does it affect the entire month? Or if he was born on that day, he was on the entire month. And the answer is both Moshe and Purim represent not just a single act or a single moment or a single life, but a message, a perspective. And Moshe Rabbeinu, he gave us a perspective on life. He gave us the Torah. And Haman saw that with his death, that perspective, the Torah was lost. And what the Midrash is telling you is that Moshe Rabbeinu started our Torah Shabbat Peh. And he just started something with his birth. He was the birth of something, which continues way after his death. So to Purim. Purim is not just one day, one miracle, but it changed the perspective of the Jewish nation. The Jewish nation saw themselves as a whole, saw themselves as in the hands of God. And this brought about eventually the return of Am Yisrael and building of the second temple. When I think of my Bubbys' life, I can't think of not just one event or one nice deed that she did. It was her entire life. It was her perspective of life. It was the person that she was. A true Eishes Chayil. Someone so full of life, so full of excitement, so full of joy. Always happy to see anyone. I mean, all of our friends, I mean, for us, she was Bubby. But all our friends, she was also Bubby. Because everybody who met her, she treated them with such love and caring, they felt like she was their Bubby too. And you know what? I never was jealous. Because somehow I always felt like she was still my Bubby. Still, every time she saw you, she would go, Yitzchak, with such excitement. You know, and I'm sure David and Hillel and Yehuda and Feigela and all the grandchildren, every one of you, she always was so excited to see every one of us and so full of joy and excitement. Last year, I went to Poland. One of the things that you're thinking when you visit the concentration camps is what did the people who survived have that allowed them to survive really some of the most horrific experiences? And the truth is, you see that some of the most healthiest people didn't make it, and some of the least healthiest people made it. And what most people who survived, to tell you is that the people who survived had such a spirit of life, such a will to live. They had such a want to give to others. And I mean, Bubby, I mean, it's almost amazing when you hear her tell her story of the Holocaust. And I guess I was studying that over the last year or so. Her story, you can see it online in the Sandra Medell, a story she recorded when she was in her 60s. And she's so excited to tell over the story. And she's not broken up. It's part of history that she lived through. And she's sharing what her experiences. And you realize that she's so full of life that the Nazis in Machshamam had no chance of taking that out of her. Just so full, so full of life. I remember one time when my grandparents were all sitting around the dining room table discussing. My two other grandparents on the other side of the family and Bubby, and they're talking about their age. And my grandmother and my grandfather from the other side of the family were saying how we don't have to tell people our age. It's our private business. And Bubby chimed in, my age, I'm proud of my age. I'm 74, 20 years ago, and proud of it. And that was Bubby. Bubby never felt sorry for herself. In fact, she was a source for helping others. I mean, she was in charge of everything that I could ever remember. You never went to the shul in Tel Road Synagogue and saw an activity that she wasn't part of. She was either volunteering in the bingo, in the sisterhood, cooking the brunch, even setting up the shalosh when she was there. I mean, Bobby was just always there, and wasn't a person of fanfare and person of credit, just wanted to give. And her house was open to everyone. She helped the entire neighborhood. And as the congregation got older, people needed more help. And she ran her own little soup kitchen for anybody who couldn't make their meals. Just incredible kindness without any boundaries. And incredibly patient. As a child, we all talk fondly of Camp Bubby. How Bubby she really watched all of us as our parents had various jobs, and whenever we were home from school, or especially in the long summers, we all spent time with Camp Bubby. But it wasn't just because she was the one who didn't work. Bubby had the most patience for children, more than any woman I have ever met. She is so patient when she tells a story, when she gives a meal. I don't even ever remember her losing her temper or yelling at any one of us. But she watched every one of us. And I think our parents sent her there, not just because she was available, it's because she was just so good at putting up with all of us and so patient. I do remember one time where she lost her temper at me. This came my I guess my one of our early years is studying yeshiva, and I came back and visiting America, and I felt I was Mr. Know-it-all. I know more halachot than everybody else around me, and I started telling people what to do and tell people how things are done in a very condescending way, until my Bubby put me to place, and she looked me in the eye, a very short loss of temper, and said, you're not the only rabbi here. And what she went is that she was the other rabbi here. And she was right. Now, we're taught, Gadol Shimusho Milumudo. You learn more from a rabbi, from a Talmid Chacham, by watching how they live than the actual words that they teach you. So first of all, Bubby, she learned from a lot of Talmid Chachamim. And her father, Rav Yitzchak Yosef, was a Rav Shochet and did everything he can to help his city that he lived in, ran the Cheder. Her husband, Rabbi Paul Mendel, were both very righteous and wise people. And we're taught Eshet Chaver Kechaver, the wife of a tzaddik, of a righteous person, is the same level as the righteous person. So first of all, Bubby herself learned from great people. But besides that, also she and who she was, she taught us so much about her life. And in that comment, what hit me and I think later helped me develop the person who I am, is that Bubby was trying to tell me is that if it's a Torah that I'm learning and the Torah that I'm teaching others makes people feel uncomfortable, then I'm not doing it right. I didn't understand it right. I'm not teaching it right. It was almost like the Batko, the heavenly voice that tells Hashem Baruch Chai, go back to the cave and to your studies so you could learn how to give over the Torah in a way that people can receive it. And I don't know if anybody around knows. Maybe you didn't know. Also, Yitz is different, right? After a couple years yeshiva and my condescending, oh, I know more than everybody else, I went back to yeshiva, went for a few more years, come back as a shaliach, and I don't know, I felt like I was a very different person. And I think that's when my father, Al Shalom, even expressed how much he appreciates the way I chose my life. It's only because I turned out in the second way as opposed to the first way. And where was the change? The change was a little conversation with my Bubby. But if you think about it, that was the life that she loved. She lived the Torah. She lived the Masorah. And she gave it over to everybody around her just because she was a beacon of a light of just goodness. The way God sees people, she saw people. And really, the people that some of us could never understand, Bubby was out there helping us. You know, I did something great this last summer. I donated a kidney to somebody who I didn't know ahead of time, someone from a religious family here in Nahariya, which I found out after I decided to make the donation. And a lot of people, when I tell them about this, wow, are amazed on what amazing act you did. And and the thing is that I don't really feel that way. I guess most of those people just don't know Bubby. Because people ask where I got it from. Well, anyone knows Bubby. That's where it came from. The pure giving without boundaries, give to others at all costs, and that was just what Bubby was. Bubby, every last piece of energy, every waking moment, was just about doing things for others. And I think just like Moshe Rabbeinu, where we're not supposed to look at his death as the end of an era, but rather as the beginning. And that, I think, is a charge for us today. To look at the passing of our Bubby as not the end of an era. Bubba was the beginning of an era. Bubba was the light of our final redemption, of when Yiddishkeit is done in the right way, and it's one with the creation, it's one with the briot. It was just the perfect way a Jew should be living their life. And that's the way my Bubby lived her life, and that's the way she taught us to live our lives. And if we could share that with as many people, if we could share that love for humanity, that undying energy, the will to just be a good person and do what's right without questioning that your way, is hopefully we could all continue that charge that she has given us. I just want, in one last comment, to say I recently learned Masechet Kiddushin. And there's a question about Ad Heichen Kibud Aveim, and to what extent do we have to show respect, honor for our parents? And the Gemara gives incredible stories of people who've gone to such lengths to honor their parents. And I just wanted to say to Aunt Reggie, who really took care of Bubby with such passion, without any thought for her own self, just gave her entire life for helping Bubby for those last year or so, and Bubby wasn't always even there to dementia, such a hard disease. I think that if Reggie was around in the time of the Gemara, they would have brought her as an example. That's a perfect example for undying commitment to one's parents. And I just want to wish my mother, Bubby, Sally, Nanny, and all the rest of the family that may we find comfort amongst the mourners of Zion, and as Bubby's memory should continue to be a light for us, for our children, for our great grandchildren, for generations to come, for the community of Cleveland, for all Am Yisrael. Yehí Sikra Baruch.